All right, that was our first stop in Belleville. Getting ready to roll. Group 1 getting ready to roll out. Got a lot of people turned out today. I want to say there's 25. Like, people just kept jumping in on us out of nowhere. They caught us up and then just jumped in. Let's go have fun. All right, we're off on another adventure here. It's going to be an easy ride today. This one we're calling Independent Beaver because it was supposed to start at Buc-ee's in Brookshire, but we ended up starting at a slightly different starting point, and then also independent because it is Independence Day weekend. Happy 4th of July, everybody. We got, I think, 24, 25 bikes, maybe 26 showed up, so we're split up into 3 groups right now. I'm leading group number 1, and we are kind of getting started here. This is my third attempt to get used to the 15-tooth sprocket on the front of the Ibex / 450 MT CFMoto. It drops power up top and it extends first gear, but when you're just cruising like this at 55, 65 miles an hour, it just calms the bike down. So I'm really torn on it, man. I go back and forth. I have switched gearing on this bike probably 5 times, just trying to figure out which one I want to lock into. And maybe that's the case. I'll never lock into one. Maybe I'll use one for off-road and one for on-road. I don't know. But right now I'm trying out the 15-tooth again to see if I can just kind of deal with the lack of power up top and the stranger first gear. But what we're doing today is mostly gravel roads and back roads, so I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I like leaving out of Brookshire area, which is just right west of Houston. I like leaving out of here because you get into the country really quick. So, I mean, it took less than 10 minutes. We're already in some beautiful trees and gravel roads. It's nice and lush and green out here this time of year. I think I've showed y'all this before, but like I keep my CarPlay screen kind of zoomed in on the route, and then I keep my phone right here on my dash with the route zoomed all the way out so I can see where I'm at overall on the route, and then I can also see up close where we're at. So you can see I've got a turn coming up there. I wouldn't be able to see that if I was zoomed out that far. So that's my kind of methodology for navigating at this point. This little Ibex corners really, really well. I've got some, I would call 70% off-road, 30% on-road tires made by Tusk, the Tusk 2-track, and you'd be surprised. You can corner pretty well with it. I wouldn't try to do a sport bike stuff on it, but it corners pretty well, especially on these little back roads like this. The only thing that I can really complain about is that when there's lines in the road, the more aggressive the tire, the more it'll track those lines in the road. So if you've got a lot of like what they call tar snakes or rain grooves or something like that, you'll feel your bike squirming around. It's just the downside of running knobby tires. Got a small highway here. Try to eliminate as much of these little highways as possible from these routes, but I just wanted to show you, like, so regarding the 15-tooth sprocket here, so look, you can see I'm at 55, 5400 RPM and going 65, 66 miles an hour. So yeah, I mean, it really, if you're going to do this kind of riding, it really is the right thing to do for this bike. All right, we only rode for about 35 minutes, something like that, but I had to cut this route up somehow. Next stint will be longer, but we stopped at the little historical site, San Felipe de Austin. So this is a group number 1 here, and we got another 2 groups of this same size coming in shortly. Let's slow down the pace just a little bit here. I was trying to push it around 50 or so on gravel, but we got some new people with us, making them a little uncomfortable. No big deal. We'll slow it down about 40, 45, something like that. We'll still make it plenty of time. Look at these beautiful roads out here. Water bars. Or washboard, I should say. Spin it up. Oh yeah. Overcast today, if you can see. We're also racing, I think, some weather. looked at the radar, and it looks like probably in the next 2 to 3 hours there's a wave of rain coming through, and the hope is that we'll be back by then. Isn't there a saying that when the cows are laying down, that means there's rain coming? I think I've heard that before. I might be making that up. I'm pretty sure I've heard that before. All the cattle are laying down, or at least most of them. Alright, one of my favorites, Lamp Road. You literally cut through somebody's cornfield. Doesn't feel like you should be able to do this, but this is a county road. It has also had a lot of rain out here, so I don't know what this is going to be like. I see some mud puddles, but it might be super easy. Yeah, it's pretty dry, actually. Just the right amount of dry. Any drier than this and it develops sand. On a big bike, nobody likes sand. We tolerate it. Ibex does pretty good on it though. Gonna let it record because this is one of the best roads on here. It's an odd thing to wish for, but I almost wish it was a little bit rougher so we could like really charge it, but hey, we'll take what we can get. Some birds having a feast up here on something. Whoa, hello, pothole. There's that rough I was asking for. Kick up a stick. Look at these birds. They're like racing me. I'm a little nervous when I'm going to take a shit and end up right in my face. Damn, the Ibex will scoot through that stuff, man. Yeah, I do love me some Lamp Road. What is that? What's that saying on is it Anchorman? Is it Steve Carell? He's like, I love Lamp. That's what I think of when I'm on Lamp Road. I love Lamp. Fantastic. Ben loves this new 890. Suckers just go. Got a little bit of back road time here, so not going to be anything exciting. So I'll catch up with you guys at Newman's Bakery. Actually, I'll come back on here, sorry, before we stop. I will say, a road like this, you might not can see it in the camera, but there's a lot of ripples in the pavement here. This really highlights one of the weak points of the Ibex's suspension. They just, I've said this before if you watch my videos, it's probably repeating myself, but they just set it up to be able to kind of charge stuff at 40 miles an hour or something in the dirt, hit potholes and things like that, and have it be stable. But the downside is that on just a budget suspension like this, even though it is KYB and even though it's fully adjustable, on a budget suspension like this, it just does not have the valving to be smooth on these ripples and sort of things. So it's either kind of like set it up for stiff and rough stuff, or set it up for smooth stuff, and it's going to kind of bottom out on the rough stuff. So they chose the former of those two. So hopefully in the next month or so, I'm going to have some suspension work done. I'm just waiting on one of the suspension tuners to finish up their kind of finalized settings, and then hopefully we'll smooth the whole thing out and have some premium suspension in here. Okay, I lied again. I'm going to come back on before we stop, but this kind of road, again, you can't really see it in the camera because the camera kind of flattens everything out, but there's a lot of little chop in this road right here. And on a bumpy road where the suspension's really active like this, I feel like this is what their target demographic road was in surface. Yeah, I suppose their demographic is just middle-aged dudes like me cruising gravel roads. Whoa, shit, almost washed the front end. So it's great for stuff like this. The only thing I will say is it's a little bit deflecty, if that's a word. So the handlebars kind of bounce around. I'm thinking about getting a steering stabilizer, but I want to wait until the suspension's done to see if that kind of resolves some of that, or if it's just the nature of the bike. All right, I lied again. I'm coming on one more time before I stop, actually. I was just going to say, as you get towards Belleville, if you're running this route and if you're in this area, if you're watching from one of my local groups here, this really is nice property out here. The elevation changes. Honestly, the temperature cools down a little bit too. The camera doesn't do a good job of it. This is a nice little, probably 100-foot elevation change. Nice pond at the bottom. Nice. This does get sandy out here, so kind of got to be on your toes in the summer. This is the Austin County Courthouse. This is a cool place. They got a little roundabout here. We got to go around and turn around here. Whoa, hello. Hello. I appreciate that they were stopping for people. So we got a roundabout here, and these people won't figure out how to use it. Maybe we will. That was fun, wasn't it? There we go. Downtown Belleville. The fabulous Mill Creek Road coming out of Belleville. It's a beautiful, flowing, open back road here. It's another one of those places where this Ibex's touring capabilities really shine. You see these little patches in the pavement and stuff. All that's pretty harsh because of that suspension that I was mentioning earlier. Just like about any other off-road sort of bike, you can stand some custom valving for the suspension and springs appropriate for your weight and riding style. Yeah, as I said before, I think this is kind of the sort of touring that the Ibex is made for, these back paved roads, that sort of thing, 2-lane highways, that sort of stuff. I think if you really want to get onto the interstate and hold 70, 75, 80 miles an hour, it'll do it, but if that's your primary riding, or your riding consists of a lot of that, you probably should be looking at like the 800 or a more adventure touring style bike. This one might disappoint you in that category a little bit. On the other hand, compared to an adventure touring bike, this thing feels like a friggin' dual sport when it comes to double track and single track stuff. Yeah, I really think this bike cruises best at like 65, something like that. So better than a dual sport, but not quite as smooth as a bigger touring bike or an adventure touring bike that weighs, 50, 100, 150 pounds more stable. So I really think that 65 is probably the sweet spot, regardless of what gearing you have. Ooh, lots of nice curves here. Swing that back end around. Ooh. Man, God, so much fun on this bike. It's got power through the entire range, man, from like 2,000 to, ooh, I gotta watch out for this big old rocks. It's got power from like 2,000 to 9,000 RPM. It's awesome. And when you want to sling stuff around like that, listen, that's just wound up. It just goes. Really like this road. You can see on there's a lot of curves. It's gravel, it's in the woods. The only thing you got to watch out for is animals and cars and driveways. I do like to try to be careful around driveways. You can get a good flow going. by having a map, you can see how sharp these turns are, so you can kind of plan appropriately. Sling that back in. Whoa! Gotta watch out. Sometimes these bridges have concrete underneath. Yeah, see, there was a little bit. It gets slippery. Oh, and I don't know. Sometimes I don't know if I love just blasting gravel roads more or riding like double track. I think it's just equally as fun sometimes. You find a good road like this. It's just curvy. To get that out of my system before we hit some pavement here. Getting close to our lunch stop here. Everybody's working up an appetite. Got a few final little twisty back roads here. We'll stop at Patty's Diner in Pattison, Texas. Here in the area, it's a good country diner place to eat. Oh my goodness, I don't know if you can see this, but Austin's muffler is coming loose. He's going to put it in his backpack. This is awesome. The Dominator is not so dominating. Oh man, that is hilarious. Okay, Austin's Dominator exhaust has absolutely dominated his bike. And it is now, let's turn around, it is now his high pipe out of here. So now start this bad boy up for us here. Let's hear what this domination sounds like. Oh my goodness, give me a rev. Oh, wow, that is epic, Austin. Man, we had some good grub and it is tired. We are tired and it's time to go home. Everybody's peeling off, so it was a good time. It was a good ride.